Welcome back to episode 5 of Movie Mics from Broken to Built podcast. We're back at it again, guys, and we have new perspectives and we got new stuff to talk about. Let me turn this AC down. So, the healing journey seems like it could take forever at times, and you feel like you're gaining progression, and then something happens and it sets you back. You could be triggered by something, or a life event can happen, and suddenly all that progress is out the window. So what do you got to do? You got to sit with yourself again, and you got to keep doing the work. And that's what I got to do. I haven't really sat with myself. I guess because I'm afraid of being alone. But also when I'm alone, that's where I recharge the most. So I guess what I really boils down to is I don't want to miss out on human connection. And I want to be loved just like everybody else. And I do like attention from my person. And that person isn't here anymore. We're not going to talk about that just because I'm giving this person space and I want to respect their privacy, our privacy. But let's just say that it's not going well, and it's because this character flaw that I have keeps showing up. And until I work on myself and become secure, all of my insecurities and fears are going to keep popping up. So how do you work on those things? This is what I'm learning. First of all, you don't have to do it alone. You could give everything to God. Give all your problems, all your fears, all your struggles, give it all to God. Just remember, Jesus died on the cross for all of us, for our sins. So you don't have to carry all that weight around. You could ask for forgiveness, and you could start moving forward with positivity. That's really what I want right now. What I want more than ever is to feel the Holy Spirit coursing through my body. And I'm told that in order to make that happen, you have to accept Him into your life, to surrender. And what I want to do is be reborn. I want to get baptized, and I want to give my life to Christ. And that's what's going to happen. I'm going to get involved with a church, and I'm going to try my best to get there and make it a regular part of my life. I'm going to start showing up for myself, take better care of this body that I have. Stop putting poisonous foods in it that cause disease and obesity, and start feeding it rich, mineral-driven, and nutrients. These foods that are harder to get because they're a little more expensive, but I believe if I, start working during my downtime, I could start working a little more than I have been, and start being more thoughtful when I'm in the grocery store, and instead of eating out, do some meal prep. I could really change this around. And I want to start exercising more too. I've been taking my kids for walks. I noticed that my daughter was really out of breath the other day when I brought her to the state hospital just to visit the area. We were going up a hill, and she claimed that she thinks she has asthma. And that may be the case, but I'm pretty sure she just needs exercise. So for the last few days, I've been taking them to the mall, my son and daughter, to just walk a couple of laps from one end to the other. Yesterday we timed it. It took 26 minutes to do a couple of laps, and that's really the good area to get your exercise in. 20 minutes to a half hour. It's really all you need at the end of the day. And I'm just incredibly thankful that I have the time and freedom to do that right now. And that's something that I want to keep showing up for. It is, I don't want to just have my kids 2 days a week and that's it. I want to have them in my life. So I want to call them more. I want to just, really what it boils down to is I want to make my kids proud. I want them to be proud of their dad. And there's no forcing this. There's just consistency, showing up for them and reassuring them that you're not going anywhere. You still love them and they still mean the world to you. And you got to keep it real with your kids. When you're going through things, don't lie to them. You don't have to come right out and tell them what's going on, but don't lie to your kids, because your kids, their minds are so impressionable, and they'll begin to believe these lies, and then they'll tell their friends or somebody else about the lie that you told and pass it off as the truth. And if somebody catches on to that and says that that's not true, it'll make them question their own reality. So don't lie to your kids. Don't lie to anybody. Unless you really have to protect your life. Don't lie. Lying in the Bible is, it's frowned upon. So let's move forward with good intentions. Let's show up for our kids. Pay that child support. That's not a burden. That's helping your kids keep a roof above their house, keep a roof above their head, and food in their tummies, and feel safe. I ultimately want my kids to feel safe during their childhood. I don't want a bunch of insecure structuring going on. I don't want them to keep seeing me sad and in bad moods. It really affects my time with them. When I get sad, it tends to overtake my whole body, and I can tend to dwell and beat myself up, and I really need to be alone during those times. But unfortunately, people have seen me during my sad times. My kids have seen it, my ex has seen it, people at work have seen me cry. This healing season is one that you cannot be ashamed of. Healing takes place at all times, and it could strike at any time during the day. If you are thinking positive thoughts and you're rewiring your brain, chances are those bad thoughts are going to go away anyway. And then, when you give yourself to God and you remove the burden, the guilt, the shame, all the weight that you carry. We talked about in the podcast that imagine if every time you're carrying guilt and shame, that's like a 10-pound boulder on your back that you're carrying around. And you're carrying all that weight around. And eventually your knees are going to shake, your ankles are going to buckle, and your back is going to break. Because there's only so much weight you can carry. Eventually, you need help. You can't keep doing this alone. You need to turn to God. Whatever God you pray to or believe in, you need to turn to that source and get your life right. We don't have to do anything alone. People choose to do things alone out of pride. I'll be the first to admit, I've been prideful in the past. I thought I could sort my own life out. I thought if I do this and this and this, then everything is going to fall into place. But you can't just walk around without any direction. You got to have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, you got to trust His plan. And right now, in order for me to heal, this is what I believe I need to do. So right now I'm sitting in the parking lot. I'm waiting for 11 o'clock. It's 10:18, and I'm waiting for my counseling appointment. The way I got here was I went to Binghamton General. I got a PPE test, TB, whatever, shot to see if I had that. It was a negative. And then I went to the plasma center. I was going to donate plasma, but I realized they're closed today. So then I came out to Owego, and I'm just sitting in the parking lot. I was able to use $4 from my account. We've talked about this before, to fill up my gas tank. I'm in the negative now. Last night, I had to put new tires on the van. I was taking my kids back home from the mall, and I turned up their grandparents' road, and then I hit a big pothole, and it flattened my tire. And thankfully, the tire didn't fully deflate until I got to Mavis Discount Tire, where I was just going to fill up the tire because my tire sensor came on. And when I pulled in, I realized that I'm, riding on a rim right now. So I go in there and I ask, is there any way that I could pay for tires later and get them now? And, thank God that we're in modern times and that you have the ability to have credit. I was able to get tires balanced and aligned and all that stuff by leasing it. I was able to lease tires, believe it or not, and I have to pay weekly in order to pay this bill off. I'm going to try to pay that off as soon as possible so I don't get the crazy hike in interest rates after 3 months. But it's just been one thing after another, and I'm not trying to digress. I'm just telling you what's going on. How I need to heal right now is I need this counseling. I need to work on my behavior. I need to understand where this behavior comes from and try to unpack years and years of trauma that I've just thrown into the closet, and I thought I would deal with it later, but I never dealt with it. And if you guys doing that too, you think you're going to deal with things later, whether it's the dishes or your mental stress or a situation that you did somebody wrong, it's just going to come back, and it's going to bring back all the emotional triggers that you once had that you thought were gone. It's best to tackle things as they arise and handle it right then and there. So I need to go to this counseling. The next thing I need to do is go to church. You don't have to go to church to have a relationship with God, but you have to, if you want to be healed, you have to get around like-minded people. And I don't want to be around a bunch of evil right now. I see evil show up everywhere in all walks of life. And I am disgusted by what I see. What I see with female behavior on social media, how women are so focused on attention and getting laid that they're not paying attention to what God has in store. They're just trying to do it themselves and worship the human flesh. This is not the way to go. That's not the way I'm going to do it. If I can't be in a relationship right now, I'm going to take this time for myself, and I'm going to fully heal. I'm going to get closer to God, and I'm going to figure out how to get out of this control issue that I have. And I know where it comes from. It's childhood abandonment. And it's being re-triggered all the time because people keep abandoning me throughout my life. And I'm not going to sit here and play the victim. I know that my personality, the character traits that I have, are the sole reason why people keep turning their back on me. And I promise I'm not a monster. I just have a broken inner child. And one day I'm going to heal that child. I'm going to sit with that child and reassure him that he is safe and he has nothing to worry about. Nobody's going to hurt him anymore. But for now, I need to try to get my life in order. And I don't have security enough to reassure that child right now. I know I have this van. I keep saying I don't have anything. I have this van, and I'm incredibly thankful that this is my safe spot. This is where I could sit for hours. I could either listen to music. I record this podcast in this van just because this is where I feel most creative. I feel safe. I feel like I could express myself in here. So many great memories have happened in this van. Sorry, guys. I'm getting emotional. Oh, man. I'm telling you guys, healing it shows up whenever it wants to. Some wounds, they don't heal. Some cuts are so deep they don't heal. But I will heal, and I will be whole again. And I'll have the armor of God everywhere I go. You know what's weird is I've realized that you could be confident and insecure at the same time. Like, I feel incredibly confident in everything I do when it comes to video production, when it comes to my job, when it comes to handling responsibilities and communication, my skills, everything all across the board. I feel really good. But when it comes to having a safe place and, you know, financial success, these are the things that I'm insecure about right now. I don't like that every time my kids come over, I have to get something cheap to eat because I can't afford anything. And we can't have any meaningful experiences together outside of like going to the park or visiting, you know, random landmarks around town. Like, I know the coolest things in life cost money, and I don't want to always say that, you know, money's not everything, because money is important. We need money to create the kind of life we want to create. You could definitely get by without money, but I know people without money and they're not happy right now. They're struggling because there's always going to be a struggle, and money is the answer. I mean, love is the answer, you know, all around, but money does bring a lot of problem solving. So let's just get back on topic. I said I need to keep going to counseling. I need to get closer to God. I need to work on goals. This is what a lot of people fail to do when they're going through a heartbreak, is they keep dwelling on the past and reliving that situation over and over again. And the best way to get past that is to focus on yourself more. Focus on developing yourself. Like, I'm insecure right now, so I need to find a way to secure more money. I'm insecure right now, so I need to sit with myself and understand that maybe there's some unhealed, you know, trauma that I need to go through. I'm insecure right now, and remember, I said I am is a very powerful agreement with the universe. I shouldn't be saying that, but I have to admit that I happen to be insecure. And I can't lie to you guys. I don't want to lie to you guys. I want to keep it real and authentic. This podcast is about healing, and if, you know, I'm lying to you guys, then maybe I'm not even healing myself. So these are the things that I'm doing to show up. These are things that I also want to do. Like, I want to start working out and taking good care of my body. I talked about putting rich, nutritious foods in my body. I want that. I want water, the only liquid going in my body besides coffee or a Celsius is water. That is the source of life right there. I don't want to keep drinking soda. I don't want to have any sugary drinks. My sister, I believe my sister Tara, her cancer was accelerated based on her diet. She ate a lot of sugar. She had a problem with eating sugar, and so do I. I've since cut back, and I'm thankful that my relationship with food has changed. But this being poor lifestyle has led me to eat some foods that I thought I wouldn't eat anymore. Like ramen noodles. Like, I've been eating ramen noodles because it's so cheap. You could get a 10-pack of ramen noodles for a couple bucks. And I guess it's all about the calorie intake. Like, if As long as you're not going over your calories per day, you're good. But that's a lot of carbs and salt. Sorry. I don't want to keep doing that. I don't want to sit here and eat a bunch of lettuce either. But I do want some healthy greens. I want some orange vegetables. I want some red vegetables. I want some fruits, like such as apples. I used to eat apples every single day, and it would regulate me. I would go to the bathroom multiple times a day, and I didn't feel bloated. I need to start getting apples again. And I need to stop trying to control everything, just be in the moment and sit back and watch my brain, do what my brain does, but don't act on the things that my brain says to do. Because a lot of times we are driven by fear or love. And if you have both, then your life could be chaotic. It's good to cultivate a lifestyle based out of love. Fear is fleeting. It's not always going to be there. But the way you are biologically, if you love people, you're going to love everybody. That's just the way you are. And when you develop a love for somebody and you get close to them, you're going to love very deeply. That's what I do. I love very, very deeply. Like unconditionally. Like nothing could shatter this love for you. Because I love you. Like my life depends on it. I realize that might be unhealthy. That's just the way I am. I'm not a mama's boy. I kind of became a lone wolf. I consider myself to be a chosen one. I walk my own path. I always have. And now, I'm just trying to merge my path with God. Because I've been going down this road and I've been, trying to do everything on my own. And He already mapped out my whole life. And all I have to do is just show up and stay consistent and keep doing what I'm doing. And this plan will take over. As long as I allow Him to lead me. Life has been interesting. It keeps getting better because, even through the hardships, you learn a lot about yourself, you learn a lot about others, and you gain new perspectives every single day. Every day is a new challenge, but is also a new opportunity to become something greater. I do believe that I'm here to leave a lasting impact. I believe that I'm supposed to touch millions of lives based on what I've been through in life and who I've become. I don't know what the mission is, but I'm ready to be sent. I want this to happen. I would also like to align this path. I know we can't force anything or control anything, but I've developed such a great love and skill for filmmaking and photography. So if I could make content somehow and spread the word and also talk about my life experiences, I believe I'd be relatable. And that's what this podcast is right now. I know I haven't fully committed to it. There's been weeks where I haven't put anything out, but the podcast is always on my mind. And I can't wait to talk to you guys more. And I see that people are listening. I'm so thankful that people are showing up. You don't even have to say anything. Just thank you for being here. Just your presence alone shows me that this show is important and it's needed. And I'm going to keep delivering it. And it's going to keep getting better and better. The quality is going to get better. The topics are going to get better. And pretty soon you're going to have guests on, and they're going to talk about some real hard-hitting issues. And hopefully this podcast could set the foundation for what my security will look like in the future. I'm doing the work right now. I'm sacrificing these hours for something greater. And that's ultimately how you become successful, is you downgrade your life so that you could have the type of life that you want later on. And my life is completely downgraded, and it's free of a lot of material. I got rid of a lot of material items when I separated, and I live out of a duffel bag, and I do have a bedroom at my mom's house, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm thankful that I have a little private space of my own that I could just go and feel safe. I'm thankful for my mom for allowing me into her home again, even though, in ways my mom feels like everybody turned their back on her because nobody goes to visit her. And she tells me every day that she feels so lonely and nobody cares about her. As I'm sitting there having coffee with her, I wish my mom would see that I'm right there during those moments and she's not alone. But I can understand how she feels, because in ways I feel that way, that I'm alone. But it's good that we have that moment with each other in the morning, sharing coffee and just talking about our problems. And she's always been a great listener, and so am I. And I just think that this is right where I'm supposed to be right now. I think there was an unclosed chapter of my mom in my life, and this is healing. And by the way, I'm talking about Rose Rudolph, the mother who adopted me when I was 12 years old. I was placed in foster care at the ripe age of 4 years old, separated from my sisters, and I went through a couple of different foster homes before I found my forever home, my temporary forever home with the Rudolph family. And I'm so thankful that I met all those people, all the kids there, the whole family. It's been really great. There had been times where I felt like I wasn't really a member of that family based on the things that were said in the past. Not by my mom or dad or anything, but just how I was made to feel at times. And even today, I don't feel like I have a connection with a lot of them, but I admire all of them, and I am thankful that I met them, and I am thankful that my mom gave all these people so much loving growing up, that they turned out to be excellent people. I just think that the chosen one walks a path on their own, and oftentimes, they're called the black sheep. I just feel like my path is so much different than anyone else's in this family that it's hard to relate. 'Cause I didn't just get a job and hope for the best. I tried to forge out a path of my own. And I wish that I had turned to God earlier on. Maybe I'd be more successful now. But I feel like I did a lot. I made a lot of right choices too. I helped a lot of people out. I've tried to become more about community than about self. I know right now I need to focus on myself a little more, just to heal and become financially stable and start living my life again creatively, express myself artistically, vocally through the art. I want to create a rap album talking about my life, all the hardships that I've gone through. I would love to do some acting, get in front of a camera again instead of behind one. show people this person is more than what meets the eye. I would also like to paint and draw more, just to create for the sake of creating, because when I sit down and that pen hits the pad or whatever medium that I'm using at that time, I truly believe that it's not me doing it, like that possibly God is moving my hand, and possibly God is pushing these words out of my mouth when I'm rapping or writing poetry. I definitely want to be more tasteful in the entertainment that I put out. I feel like I have a higher responsibility now to not create anything that's evil or negative. I want to uplift and show people that there is a brightness in me that they could turn to. And I know I pushed a lot of people away with my behavior, my ego, all the problems that I've carried with me as an adult. But there's more to me. I have such a big heart. I have love for everybody. I forgive everyone. Everyone that's ever wronged me, I forgive, and I forgave. I have a hard time with the pain that it's caused me, but it doesn't mean I haven't forgiven them. The wound is still open. And until that wound closes, there's going to be still, a little bit of pain there. And we're just reminded of the things that happened. It doesn't mean we're not over it. It's just we're reminded. I truly hope if you're on a journey that you realize that you don't have to do it alone. That counseling is a great place to go. Speaking to a therapist who is unbiased and is just going to listen to you and give you some good feedback. The best therapist is God. You should be talking to God on a regular basis, not just when you want something, but when you need actual change in your life and you want to lead with His heart. You should be turning to God. And I have been turning to God, with crying, talking and praying in tears. I've been praying out of love. I've been praying when I'm happy. And I'm not just asking for stuff. I'm saying things that I'm thankful for. That's how I always start my prayer, is what I'm thankful for. And it's not always the things that you think. I'm thankful for the tests. All the trials that I've been going through. Is maybe I needed to grow in certain areas that were weak. And these tests that I go through gave me new perspective. Every test, you're supposed to walk away with new knowledge. And I have new knowledge. I have perspective. I have understanding. I see that I've caused damage to a lot of people. And it's up to me to change who I am. My character. I'm going to keep saying this because this is my phrase now. You're not locked into that character. That character is temporary because we're always changing. Our minds are so impressionable when we're younger. It's when you get older that you become stuck in your ways. But right now, I'm able to move my mind where it needs to go. And I'm going to rewire my thoughts. Instead of insecure and fearful thoughts, I'm going to think of positive, confident, grateful, loving thoughts. And I can't promise that I won't slip up and say something negative, because our feelings and our mood, it changes by the second. Because every little thing that happens in the world can cause a reaction within us. Somebody dies over in China, I believe that it's felt here in the US because we're all connected. Just like a network of trees could share water, the grass could share water, plants could share water. They all use it, what they need to stay sustained, and then they give it away to the rest of the network. If we were like that with love and compassion, how better this world would be. If we understood that we really need each other and it's not all about self. And I know I say I have to work on myself, but I don't have to think about myself. I just have to sit with who this person's become and try to change the trajectory of where I'm headed. I want to impact millions of lives in this lifetime. I want to do it while I'm still alive. So people could feel the passion, that fire inside my heart that has never went out. It might have weakened over time, but that fire still burns, and I promise you that I'm still here. Anybody who's ever came into contact with me knows I uplift people. I make them feel special when they're around me. And I rarely talk about myself. But this podcast right here, this is my podcast, so I'm going to talk about myself sometimes. And until I get guests, you guys are going to learn a lot about me. There was a lot of problems growing up. You know, in the foster home, there was like bullying in school. There was fights. There was fights with the foster kids. There was fights in school. There's all this like pressure as a kid to like prove yourself to everybody. And I'm thankful that, I don't know when it stops, maybe in your early 30s, you stop caring what others think about you and you start just doing what's right for you. And yes, I still care what people think, because when somebody tries to sabotage or destroy my name publicly, I think anybody would get a reaction out of that. But what's best to do is know in your heart that you can't change the way somebody feels about you. All you can do is keep showing up, putting skin in the game, and following through with what you say you're going to do. And then by default, anything that's said as derogatory towards your character will be thrown out the window, because that person knows the real you. They're not going to believe the person. One person's experience with you does not shape who you are as a person. It means that maybe your chemistry was off and you need to work on some things, but that's not the way the rest of the world sees you. So if you're looking for allies by slandering somebody's name, you should just stop. Because the work has already been done. My name is out there. And I don't need to prove anything anymore to anybody else. Anybody who's ever met me knows I'm a rock solid dude. I'm authentic. And their secret is safe with me. They could tell me all about themselves, and I'm going to listen. Healing right now is the most important thing that I can do. For me, my kids, my future wife, my future jobs, my future, anything. Anything that's coming, including success, needs a sturdy foundation. And if you didn't have a sturdy foundation, it's probably because you never healed. So just because you had a cracked foundation when you bought the house, it doesn't mean you can't fix that foundation. It'll take work. It'll take sacrifice. But eventually, that house will be safe to live in again. And you won't have to worry as much. And when that foundation is sealed and secured by God, well, that's when you really change as a person. It's almost time for me to go into my counseling appointment. I got 10 more minutes. I hope this podcast is valuable to you guys right now. My mind is everywhere today. I haven't taken my vitamins. I'm thankful that I'm able to articulate what I want to say, but I do feel a little foggy of the brain just because of the depression. But I'm going to do something nice for myself pretty soon here. After my counseling appointment, I have to go to work. I work from 1 until 9:30 tonight, and then same thing tomorrow. And then hopefully tomorrow I could start doing some self-care. And you guys got to do some self-care for yourself. Self-care is removing people from your life. I understand that I was removed from her life as a part of her self-care routine. Self-care is also showering, clipping your fingernails, making your bed. It's also, paying your bills on time, going to the gym, putting nutritious food in your body. Self-care all across the board is needed because oftentimes we neglect the most important things in service of others. You shouldn't be so ready to help others that you forget yourself. Show up for yourself. Remember that you are somebody, and you don't have to determine your value based on who loves you, how they show up for you. If you just show up for yourself, you start believing that you are that person that you think you are, and you belong at the table, no matter who's sitting there with you. All the experience and things you've been through in life have led you up to this point. Of course you belong at that table. And you don't have to please anybody at that table unless God is sitting at the front of that table. If God is the head of that table, you won't even be able to look him in the eyes. You just have to be grateful that you're in his presence. Guys, I'm excited for this healing journey. Today, last night I was heartbroken. Today, I'm a little more optimistic. Being blocked on everything is really not as bad as it seems. I'll get over this heartbreak. We all bounce back. As soon as I start knocking out my goals, I'm going to change. And, the things that once consumed me will be a thing of the past. And right now, I just need to focus on what's the most important right now. And that would be being in my kid's life, paying these bills, saving for the future, and trying to find a career, getting closer to God, giving my life to God, becoming reborn, and finding a church group that I feel comfortable with. I would love to, make time for hobbies. Those are going to come as I continue on down this path. I will naturally fall into my creative side once again. And not all is lost, people. Not to talk in the third person, but Movie Mike is not gone. He is not no more. He's just beginning. And if you're just beginning, come along on this journey. Follow me if you don't know who to follow right now. And let's get through this together. You may be hurt. You may be insecure. But one thing you could count on is you are loved by God. I love you, and I believe in you. And with each other, as long as we have each other's backs, we could get through any obstacle life throws at us. Just remember that. And remember, you are worthy, you are important. But don't put yourself before God. Give all your success, everything that you've been through, give it to God. Thank you for listening today. Episode 5 of Movie Mics from Broken to Built podcast. I hope you guys have a blessed day. I hope that everything you're working towards comes to fruition, and that you have groundbreaking moments, and that the things that once consumed your mind no longer consume it anymore. Thank you for listening. And remember, you too can become healed. Just give it time, guys. Have a good day.